Hello, my name is Winnie McDowell, and I am doing this video for the week 4 discussion of the Flashback Flash Forward for the Creative Writing Research class. So, what I learned overall in this course is if you do not have well-developed characters, you don't really have a story. And without a story, then you don't have anything. So, with our previous assignment, when we had to go into the character bones, and then we had to actually set up like their background, their sociology, their psychology, everything, what makes them them. That really helped me to see how important a well-rounded and well-developed character is to a story. What made it a little difficult for me is I don't normally write like this. This is not my normal thought process. I usually just write just to write, just so I can get the ideas out. And then I go back and I edit and I refine, and I'll start really giving a life to my characters. Only because if I don't get that story out or idea out right away, either one, it'll torment me all day, or two, I'll lose it. But with this, it twisted up just my process so much that it was a little frustrating, only because, as I stated, it's not what I was used to. But it really helped me. I think also with the character bones, with our discussion pieces that we had to do, a lot of my classmates had brought up good points. They were stating, how does Karen start her practice? She came from, technically, even though she was placed in the middle class, she was labeled and branded poor, only because she had a struggle and they were teetering back and forth. So she didn't really have that money, and even though she was top of class, doesn't really mean that she has that money and finances to start her own practice. So yes, her friend Trisha would be the one that actually helps her with that. Her father is going to be the businessman to help her. He has those connections with people that actually do construction and have, can get the building codes for them. And Karen doesn't get the whole entire building. She just gets her one floor. But I didn't think about these kind of things. I didn't think about really what her background was, what got her to this point to want to disprove God, until farther in the story. And what our instructor makes a point of is when we're actually introducing the antagonists. I have demonic spirits. His suggestion, which was a great suggestion, was to narrow it down to one, not just tons of them. And I had thought about it, but I was just so flustered and I had a lot going on, and I was derailed from my normal process that I threw that thought off to the side. I didn't follow it like I normally would have. And he had stated, it's great, but you don't have a defined antagonist. So you don't have a defined goal for them. And that goal is going to interfere with my protagonist's goal, which is, in the beginning, disproving God. But the antagonist's goal is to corrupt her, to spread the evil in the world. And having tons of them is great, but as our professor said, narrowing it down is even better. And I didn't really see that until I was actually watching a movie. I was watching a movie called Odd Thomas, and Odd Thomas, which is the main character's name, oddly enough, he has kind of clairvoyancy. He has these powers. He can see the deceased. And he's kind of like clairvoyant / detective, because he loves solving their murders, basically, because he can't stand knowing that there's people in this world that murder people, that harm them and cause this evil. So he believes that it is his duty and his destiny, and that he was gifted with this, to go out and find these bad guys. So that's his goal. That's his goal in life, is to just take his gift and just ride with it and catch these people. And we see the antagonist, which are called boat axes. They are the demonic spirits. Funny enough, our stories are similar, sort of. With the boat axes, they are the demonic spirits. They are the gateway straight to hell. They're the devil's little minions. They go out and they follow disorder and chaos and just blood and sin. They love it. They soak it up. They live for it. So with the boat axes, there are hundreds of them, tons of them. Same with my story, there can be hundreds of demonic spirits. But what they did in this movie is they focused on one. And that is actually the first boat axe you're introduced to. There was another boy in the movie that had the same power as Odd Thomas. But what Odd Thomas tells him, if you let the boat axes know you can see them, they'll kill you, just point blank. They want you out of the way. Because if you can see them, you can stop them. So that's the first boat axe. That's the boat axe that actually kills the other boy in the movie that had the same power as Odd Thomas. And not only do they set him apart by introducing him first, but they set him apart because they make him look different than all the other boat axes. And they focus in any kind of scene that has him in, or any other boat axes that they're in that scene, they zone in on that one boat axe. They made him bigger and meaner looking, like he has that leader demeanor. I am the one in charge. And he's also the only boat axe that actually tests and manipulates Odd Thomas, because he's the only boat axe that they use to show that they can sense that Odd Thomas can sense them. So I really got to see that living example of what our instructor was talking about by watching that movie. And I wouldn't have noticed it if our instructor wouldn't have said that to me. I would have just kept going on, and the antagonist wouldn't have grown, and I wouldn't have made one solid antagonist. And then my goals and their accomplishments wouldn't have really grown either. So what I learned is just to be flexible. Even though I have a thought process and I do have a way that I write, that I can be open to other ways because they're just as helpful as what I'm used to doing. What is also helpful is the great feedback that I get from you guys, from my classmates. And you also put in with one of our classmates, as stated before, had said, how does Karen start the practice? They want to know what the connections is, or why she is the way she is. They just basically, you want to know more about the character, which is really important, which normally I didn't focus on. So that's the major thing that I learned about. And I can connect that to actually one of my creative, visual thinking and writing, I believe is what it's called. I've taken so many courses, I've just mixed them up. But my visual thinking and writing class, we had to do flash fiction. And with flash fiction, you only have 1,000 words. You can't ramble on, and you can't go on and on and on with all these chapters and pages. So you have to boil it down to details. You have to have the backbone. You have to introduce, this is my setting, these are my characters, and this is what they want. I have my flawed protagonist who has to go through this conflict, and this is my antagonist's power or force that's going to try and block them from getting to what they need to get to. And I was able to click that in, because also with writing this movie, you're still writing and you're still creating a story, even if it's, writing a script or writing, for a movie or anything. You're still writing, you're still creating. So it really helped me. And the research, I didn't do enough research, basically because I think in this section I bit off a little more than I could chew. But I can take that and put that in. I need to know more about the medical field. I need to know more about procedures. I need to know more about, religion, and just expanding. And with that, with the research in this class, it really helped me Connecting it forward, my next class is computer science and internet, and then the one after this is going to, well, after that is going to be art history. I'm not really sure we're going to be doing a lot of character development in that, but I'm pretty darn sure we're going to be doing a lot of research. So with that, I can take this great research tools because with Full Sail they have a great library and they have a lot of information that we can get to. And the more that each course is allowing me to interact with that library and even dig in deeper, it's really helpful. So I know that that's probably going to help me a lot in my future courses. Overall, I've learned a lot so far, and I look forward to learning even more. And this class has only helped me to grow as a creative writing student. So that's all I have in my candidly talking. Was this a stressful, crazy class? Just a little bit, but was it overall a great experience and enriching for me? Most definitely. I hope everyone else got the same experience or around the same learning experience that I did, if not even better, because it's going to help us.